Well, it's that time of year again. It's starting to get cold. The leaves are changing. Uh, Time to pack up some of the gear and start cleaning. So I think today we'll talk a little bit about just what you should do with your lines, rods, and reels and stuff. Certain lines, first of all, modern lines are amazing. They last forever now, not like the old days. I have a rod and reel I keep on my pontoon boat on my lake. It literally sits out in the sun all summer. And I think that the line on that's got to be at least 2 years old, 3 years old, and it's still in perfect shape. Some rods and reels I use purely just like on the Au Sable, beautiful clean trout streams. Those don't get particularly dirty. This one that I use all the time on the Huron River tends to get dirty, and actually I do wipe it down a couple times during the year. But it's the end of the year. I'm not particularly careful with my equipment, so this thing is underwater. The reel is underwater all the time. So let's just go over what is, what's needed and what isn't. There's a lot of people that get real fanatical about cleaning your rods and reels and lines. It can get into craziness. Basically, it's a piece of plastic in the Huron River, or in particularly warm water streams. There's a lot of algae in there, and scum, and raccoon poop, and all kinds of stuff. So things will stick to your plastic. Anything that sticks to plastic, it's kind of I can get into the chemistry of it. Nonpolar substances sticking to nonpolar substances, but fats basically stick to fats. So we start to get, we start to get a little bit of a coating on here, and then your line will start to sink a little bit more. So basically, you just have to clean it off. Now, modern fly lines have plastic. Built into the plastic is materials that keep the fly line flexible and protected, and it kind of oozes out over time. So you don't need to coat these lines with anything. You just got to clean the algae and the scum and stuff off of them. So typically I'll either use like these microfiber cloths. I get these at like Home Depot, a dozen for like $8 or something, and I use them like, as shop rags. You can use, old t-shirts and things like that, nice clean cotton, and even paper towels. Even paper towels work. For cleaning these, again, there's all kinds of materials for cleaning these. Usually, if my windows are dirty, I use Windex, and that's essentially the same junk that I'm trying to clean off. I couldn't find my Windex, but I have it's another basically fake Windex over here. So how I'm going to clean this is really as simple as I can possibly make this. So first of all, if you have a cat, put them in another room. Okay, that's the first rule whenever you're doing anything like this. All I'm going to do in this case is take some this spray junk, basically Windex, spray it on a towel, and I'm going to just spray it on a towel and just pull it through. Okay, it's pretty much not a lot of rocket science here. And I'm just cleaning it off, letting it drop to the floor in nice big loops. Now remember too, most of your fishing you're doing is going to be, you're not going to be casting all the way down to the backing. I mean, I rarely do that. Well, I try to cast that far, but rarely that far. Okay, so I'm all the way through. This is the thick part of the line, and you notice my line, this is kind of cool line. It starts out green. This is the thick part, the weight forward part, and then it goes to a yellow line. A couple companies make this. I think Rio makes some that do this, and this is some funny off-brand that I picked up, but it's a nice line. Okay, so I'm back into the stuff that doesn't need much cleaning anymore. So I've just wiped that down really well with the Windex. Now I'm just going to take a dry paper towel and I'm just going to run this through again like this, just to make sure it feels clean. And again, I'm kind of keeping it in big loops down on the floor. Not a big deal. It's highly technical stuff. By the way, I wonder how dirty. See, I don't know if you can see that, but see, it's kind of black, cleaned off the junk. And this line, since the last time I cleaned it, really was maybe I only went fishing maybe 10 or 15 times, so it hasn't been out that much. And so I'm wiping it off. You just want to get, again, the residue off of it, any of that Windex stuff that's on there. Okay, so I've got that cleaned off. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it back again through the dry cloth again, just nice and tight. And what I'm doing basically is if anything is left on there, I'm scraping it off. Okay, pretty easy. This is highly technical. Make sure your little finger is up as you're pulling. That's very important. Okay, nice. Accelerate and stop. Accelerate and stop. Okay, that's very important. All right. So now we'll wind this back up on the reel. Okay, you have to watch me doing this. It's very exciting. So it's pretty much clean at this point. I can feel it in my fingers how much cleaner this is. And the next part is actually cleaning the reel itself. Like I said, I'm not real careful with my reels. That's why I don't buy expensive ones. This is a Redington reel. Okay, so I have the reel out. Got it all wound up. Now I'm going to open it up. And here's where the really cleaning takes place. There's a few places where gunk and muck and stuff get in there. Under here is a little friction plate. See, and that handles, in this case, that handles the drag. So you don't want to get any oil or anything under there. But this could use some oil and cleaning and stuff. Sometimes it'll just come off, sometimes it doesn't. But you want to basically clean the area off. There's also some thrust bearings and stuff in there, but we're not going to get that crazy. So the next thing I do is I'll take either a highly technical Q-tip and I'll try to clean that up. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of this stuff on there. Okay. Just so I can clean up the crap. Oops, I shouldn't be using those kind of terms. Inside here. Just get all that junk off of that. If you see dirt or big stuff, you can clean it even a little bit more. I've even been known to throw these in a bath. But see, typically around the edges, you want to get all this, especially the sand and stuff out of there. Any surfaces that might rub, you want to clean it off. Look, that's pretty yucky right there. And now I'm taking the clean side and kind of going over it again a little bit. Making sure everything is nice and clean. Take the paper towel, go in there. Again, this is not super technical stuff. Just clean that all out, okay? Much as you can. I have so many different reels, some come apart differently. The other one I'm going to do is this one. I'm going to just stick this guy in there, just clean that all out, make sure it's all nice and clean. You can see it's so dirty, junky. There's some oil in there, which is good, and that keeps everything working. And this little guy right here, you're going to see there's this little pin here. That is super important to make sure that that's kind of clean. We're going to lubricate all this in a minute. Okay? So clean that all up, and I'll wipe it off with this one. Okay, and come back with the clean side. Okay, looks good. Now, we come to the oiling part. And you can use a couple different things. There's real oil, sewing machine oil. Here's just old 3-in-1 oil. Here's some silicone. That will work. Most anything will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on this, on my Q-tip. Okay, so you got a little there. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it in there and oil that up. Put a little more on there. Okay, hard for you to see, but basically I just want to oil that up really good, the inside of that, because that's what it's rolling on. Okay, and then I'm going to take some more 3-in-1 oil, just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot. And a couple places that are important is right here in this, your little clicker is important. I would do it all around this edge here, maybe this edge. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And I'm kind of just pushing it in there. Okay, you don't want to get too much under there. And then this shaft needs a good oiling. I'm going to flip to the other side of this thing, put some oil on there. And then lubricate that shaft all up. Oops, sorry. Lubricate that shaft all up. It sounds like a porn movie. And we're all set at that point. I could take this whole operation apart and clean that all up, but I did that fairly recently. At that point, put your line in there, give it a couple turns, make sure it feels good. Bingo, I'm done. I don't have to do anything. So that's really all there is to it. Typically, I also, when I'm putting stuff away, I'll get my rods out. I'll just wipe them down. Sometimes I will get if I'm fishing a lot, right along these edges, right near the guides, there'll be a lot of junk that collects and needs some cleaning. But in general, this one's in pretty good shape. It's not as bad as I thought. Typically where your ferrules are, you want to clean those off real well too. So that's all there is to it. That's the way I do it. It takes me, for my equipment, I have about 5 rods I typically use, so it doesn't take me much time at all. And then I have all the school rods that I use. That's another 20 rods. Those take a little bit longer to do. But in general, it's a pretty quick operation. Seems to work okay. Again, I've used all different kind of stuff. I used to have the little special kits sold by this, I don't know. Use whatever you got to use. The most important thing is to clean stuff off. All right, we'll see you. Bye.